Thanks for joining us for WellCare Wellness Wednesdays. I'm Renee Murphy. I work with Jefferson County Public Schools, and I'm glad to be here with you today. I am here with Lauren Muir, who is a licensed clinical counselor.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Lauren Muir, and I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor here in Louisville. I'm the co-owner of Martin and Muir Counseling, which is a mental health agency that specializes in providing therapeutic services with individuals and families. We service mainly teenagers and adults, but I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you all about mental health and its impact on us. The thing about COVID is it affects everyone. It doesn't discriminate. So all of these things have affected everyone, no matter who we are. So we're going to talk about how this may be impacting you, people that you love, and some of the signs of mental health disorders.
And Lauren, as you said, this is having an impact on all of us, oftentimes in many different ways. And it certainly can take a toll on our mental state and our mental health. So taking a look at that, what kind of things can we be looking for if there is someone that may need some support? How do we know that someone may need additional help if they're dealing with this difficult time right now?
There's a lot of signs to look for. So when we talk about mental health, there's definitely a lot of different mental health diagnoses and disorders. Commonly, depression and anxiety is one we hear about often. So some of those signs include if you notice that people are beginning to isolate themselves, that they don't want to participate in activities that normally they would want to participate in. If you notice that your loved ones or family members, friends are around, but maybe they don't seem to be enjoying the activities, that they kind of stick to themselves, they don't engage in conversation. Other symptoms include irritability. If you notice that people are more short than they usually are, that they're irritable and they get angry more quicker, all of those are good signs, as well as emotional outbursts. So if you notice that people are crying more often than others, are very sensitive to topics, those are all great signs to look out for.
So Lauren, if we then recognize there are some signs and we have some reason to pause, what can we do and how can we support someone?
That's a great question. I think the best thing to do is we create a safe environment for the people around us. So you create a safe space that they feel open, they feel comfortable coming to talk to you about mental health issues. And obviously some people aren't ready to talk or maybe don't recognize that there is an issue, but you can still keep open lines of communication with them, especially if you are someone that has had a great experience with a therapist or a counselor or sought out other resources that were able to help you, kind of plugging those things in and talking about those things around the person, maybe even sending a text message, hey, this resource really helped me, thought you might be interested. Even if you're not getting the feedback that they are interested or want the help, you're still kind of planting a seed and letting them know that you're a person that they can come and talk to.
That's a great note, and having that piece of a connection so that person doesn't feel alone and they don't feel isolated. Are there some things that we should not do that we need to be really sensitive of if we do see any warning signs?
I think that you don't want to push people. Like we said, this is a very vulnerable time, especially here in Louisville. We know that with everything going on with COVID and the movement. And so I think that we just have to be sensitive to how other people are feeling. At the end of the day, we're all humans. So we want to be really kind and very human to people. So do not, especially if you're living with someone that suffers with mental health issues, sometimes you do get frustrated and you get angry because you don't understand the why. You don't understand why they're acting the way they are, why they've changed, or why they don't want to get help. So if you can even seek support for yourself in dealing with that versus constantly badgering or questioning the person or pushing them to do something, because most people, they are not going to seek out help until they're ready to. And so we have to respect that.
One of the things that we know is that people cope with things in different ways. They handle situations differently. And one of the trends that we've seen recently is an increase towards substance abuse. What can we all do to help someone who might be going down that path?
Again, I think it's great to look at warning signs. So first, pay attention to those around us and notice when things have changed. Definitely an increase in alcohol use and marijuana use and other substances. So noticing if the people that you're around that you love are spending more time than they used to, if they're gaining tolerance with using different substances. Again, you see them isolating themselves to use substances, increasing irritability, things of that sort. So the best thing to do is to have an honest conversation with them. I think, let them know that you love them and you've noticed that there's been some changes, offer how you can help, even offer to go with them to get help and be the best support system that you can be for them.
We've been talking about COVID and the impact that that is having on our community, but there's also something else that is very large taking place in our community and across the world, really. And people are taking a look at racial injustice and the fight for racial justice right now. So having both of these things kind of together is making it can be a time that can be difficult for people. And when we take a look at racial injustice and the movement that is happening right now, what are the kinds of conversations that we can have with people if they have concerns or questions, or if they find themselves struggling personally?
That is a great question. I keep saying this, but it's so important, is to stay connected. Because it's easy to isolate. With everything going on, people are really hurting. We've seen a huge shift in just the population that's came to us to receive mental health services. So typically, a lot of our clients are referred to us from other agencies, whereas now there's people of all ages, of all races, all different walks of life coming because they are really struggling with wanting to change, struggling with the fact that, the movement is in our face here in Louisville every day, all day, and they're still having to carry on in some ways. So staying connected, reaching out to people, especially people that don't look like you, to check in, to see them, to acknowledge their pain. Finding your tribe wherever you are, whether it's work, whether it's in your community, your church, finding spiritual ways to connect with different people, because right now I think a lot of people do feel lonely and they have a lot of emotions that they don't know how to control. There's a lot. Social media is a great place to find people, so especially when you're looking for resources on certain topics or looking for therapists that specialize in certain things, go into your Facebook, go into Instagram and asking, where do I find these resources? Where do I find a therapist, a male, a female, a black male, black female, and being able to find someone that you can talk to with about your pain. Because at this point, whether it be the movement or whether it be COVID-19, we all have been impacted in some way. And it's gone on, I think, a lot, especially COVID, longer than we expected. So it's not gonna get easier. We're gonna need to find ways to connect and debrief and process everything that's going on in the community around us.
So Lauren, we've talked a lot about recognizing signs in other people. How can we recognize if we need help ourselves?
That is a great question. Sometimes it's much easier to recognize in other people than ourselves, but in ourselves, looking at your day-to-day functioning, that's the biggest thing, because we all go through times where we maybe feel sad or we're unhappy or we don't want to hang out with other people, but looking how that impacts your day-to-day functioning. So how that impacts you at school, if you're in school, at school, at work, in your relationships with other people. And also looking at like sleeping and eating habits. Are you sleeping more than you usually do? Are you not able to sleep at night because you have, a million thoughts racing through your head? If you're eating more than normal or eating less than normal, if you find yourself being more short with family members, irritated. And also I think a lot of people come and they're like, well, I would have got therapy sooner, but everybody's problems seem much bigger than mine. I think recognizing that even if it seems something small and insignificant, it still matters to you and those are still your feelings. So it's okay to reach out to a therapist or a mental health professional and talk to them about whatever's impacting your life and not compare yourself to what other people are going through.
As we wrap up this discussion, I do want to get your perspective and letting people know about hope that's out there, that if you are having a hard time right now, it will get better, and there's help for you and there's support for you.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of resources, and I think that what has been so great about us all being at home is I feel like mental health has really been highlighted, and there's a lot of people who are working to kind of break that stigma of mental health. So I always tell people a few resources. One, obviously, our Martin and Muir Counseling is our agency, and we work with people of all different ages. You can always go to social media, like I said, and tag it and be as specific as possible. Looking for a Black female therapist that specializes with teens. Looking for a Black male therapist that specializes with people with anxiety. Looking for a white female therapist. Put the demographics in there so you get someone that really fits what you're looking for. Two, Jefferson County Public Schools is also wonderful. And I say that because all of the counselors and family resource coordinators in all the schools, they have a list of resources. So even if you're somebody in the community that doesn't per se have a child in the schools, that's still a great resource to tap into because they're very familiar with all the providers in the community and what type of clients they specialize in, insurance that they take, and all of that good stuff. And the other would be Mental Health Louisville, and on Facebook and Instagram is Mental Health Lou, L-O-U, and they're a great resource as well that have started to collect a database of different therapists and their specialties. They actually have a mental health summit online right now, but going virtually every day this week. So that's something that people can look into as well.
Well, Lauren, thank you. It's good to know the support that's available out there and to let people know that you are not alone and we are here to help you. So Lauren, thank you very much for being here with us today. And we certainly know of these uncertain times that are out there. And I'm a mom, I have 3 kids, and we're trying to figure out non-traditional learning at home, online, working full time. So we all have a lot going on. And it's really important for us to take a moment and make sure we're taking care of ourselves. So Lauren Muir, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you for being here and being a part of WellCare Wellness Wednesdays.
Thank you so much.
Strokes are the 5th leading cause of death in the U.S. At Baptist Health, we're here to help you find out if you're on track for a stroke and even help you avoid one altogether. Take our online risk assessment now.